I apply so much sunscreen, but my skin just tans. Like, it just loves the sun. I have this complexion. It's like, no.
Welcome back to the Science of Sun Safety with dermatology physician Dr. Danny Mansour. This person's talking about allergies to sunscreen. So I'm allergic to every facial sunscreen I've tried. I'm not talking breakout, eczema, hives, allergic. I'm talking eye swelling, runny nose, can't breathe, allergic, chemical, physical. I am at my wit's end. So many ingredients overlap that I'm not even sure where to go at this point.
Yeah, there are some people who suffer from something called an allergic contact dermatitis. So this is a reaction that your skin has to some chemical that is being placed on your skin. And we can actually test for that. So it does require a visit to a dermatologist, and then the dermatologists themselves will refer you to a special type of a dermatologist, someone who specializes in allergic contact dermatitis. What happens is we do something called patch testing. So this is different than what you might do if you go to an allergist, where they do skin prick testing and you have hay fever and all those other things. So with patch testing, what happens is we have a standard set or a screening set of allergens, usually about 80. And it depends on kind of what the reason you're coming in. We might use that. We might use other things. And you can even bring your own sunscreens, the ones that you've tried and you're not sure, like, is this what's causing my breakout? You can bring several, quite a few in. Like, we can't
all of them.
Quite a few, just ask us ask the allergic contact dermatitis specialist. And what happens is we place we take all these compounds, we put them into like little trays. The trays go on your backs. They get basically taped on. You go home that way. You keep it on for a couple of days. You come back, we take everything off, and then we read it. We look to see if there actually is a reaction, where you're having. And then we'll do one more final delayed reading a few days later. Just sometimes things pop up a bit later. Right. And then based on that test, we can tell you specifically, like, you develop an allergic contact dermatitis secondary to this. And these, we can give you handouts that say, this is where you can find this chemical. Like, it's in all of these products. So it might not just be your sunscreen that's causing you to have this reaction. It might be other things. It might be moisturizers. It might be your foundation. And so we can definitely help narrow things down if that is truly what is happening. And sometimes what happens is people think that they're having an allergic reaction to their sunscreen or some product. Right. They bring them all in, we test them, and there is nothing. So sometimes patients are a little frustrated by that because they're like, no, I swear. But if anything, I would kind of like reframe, that thought. It's like, no, like, we've actually tested you. We can tell that you don't have a reaction. So that's good. We know that you actually can use this safely. It's now about doing a little bit more of investigative work to see what is it else that you're putting on your face, maybe that might be causing the reaction. Right. So, and because I will tell you, like, typically allergic contact dermatitis, the way it manifests is usually like redness, dryness, scaling of the skin, like runny nose, a little bit odd, like eyes shutting tightly. That's quite a significant reaction. Right. Certainly can happen. Definitely throat closing, very odd. Like, it just makes me, like, that's what I say. Like, it's better to just ask us. Right. We can sometimes help to put the pieces together a little bit more easily with the information that you've provided us.
All right. So there are things that we can do.
And I don't think people know that, like, someone patch testing is a thing.
Yeah.
But it does require seeing a dermatologist and getting a referral from a dermatologist to another dermatologist. Yeah, we have to confirm first that you actually we have suspicion for an allergic contact dermatitis before we refer you off.
Yeah, but we're not alone. Like, we don't have to figure it out all on our own. No. There are people that can help us, and that's Absolutely. Good too.
Like help us navigate all this information and misinformation that's out there. Yes. So that hopefully we can come to some form of a conclusion that is helpful and beneficial to you.
Definitely. So there has been a lot of discussions about how a lot of skincare products or products in general that we use in makeup aren't necessarily made for people of color. There are more products now. Does this apply to sunscreen? And if so, like, what can we look for? Is it just white casting, for example?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. I think we are a lot more cognizant of the fact that all of our skins are slightly different, unique, whether it's the color, whether it's how it certain products sit on it. I hear this a lot from patients who are skin of color, where definitely one of the most common complaints is the fact that many give them a white cast. This tends to be more common with the inorganic sunscreens, so the ones that contain zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, just because they're just a lot more pasty in general. Sunscreens with a higher SPF will impart some form of a higher white cast. I'm not really saying like the difference between a 30 and a 50, but like a 110, like an SPF 100 or SPF. Yeah, like that's probably going to be a quite bit thick, even if it's an organic sunscreen. So that's definitely one issue that is not lost on. I think the industry is realizing that more and more people are working towards trying to create sunscreens that are more accessible to the general population. That's why I recommend organic sunscreens. If it doesn't contain titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, or ferric oxide, everything else is an organic sunscreen, like essentially for the part. So avobenzo, oxobenzo, like homosalate, like all of these other compounds are organic in nature, which means they have carbon in them. That's all that means.
Carbon, yes.
So carbon as the chemical element.
Right. Not like
You're not going to read this and be like, what do you mean it contains carbon?
We all contain carbon, so.
Yeah, exactly, right? We're So I find organic sunscreens to be a bit more cosmetically elegant in general for patients. And then one other thing is to try to find sunscreens with a bit of a tint, because those can also help to offset some of the white cast that you might be experiencing with some sunscreens. Again, it doesn't mean that every tinted sunscreen is going to be a home run. I was like, what is baseball?
Sports.
Sports, love sports. Yeah, it's not going to be that everyone is going to be a home run for you, but it will be. Some are definitely better than others.
Okay, those are really good tips. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
How do you know when you have enough sunscreen on? I know you said we're mostly under applying, so I mean, I know you're saying you over apply just in case.
Yeah.
But is there a way to know if we have enough on?
One of the ways is going to be how does your skin react? So if you're tanning, you don't have enough on. This is one of my favorite things that patients say is like, I apply so much sunscreen, but my skin just tans. Like it just loves the sun. I have this complexion. It's like, no. Like you know that the TikTok that goes,
Yeah.
No. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're tanning, if you're getting color, that means you are not applying. I do not care who you are and how much your skin loves the sun. It just means you're not applying enough, or maybe not frequently enough. You know, personally for me, sometimes I just feel that things are just a bit too hot on my skin. And when I feel like that significant heat, I'm just like, I'm just going to reapply. Like I'm just going to go at it again.
I like if my skin feels hot.
I think that's like legit, but I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. I'm just going to reapply.
It's a good reminder. It's more,
is, right?
For sure. Anything else you'd like to add before you wrap up?
First, I just want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about this. Like, as you can tell, I geek out about this. Like, this is so fun for me. I hope it was fun for you and for everyone else who was watching. There's one last misconception I wanted to address, which is the topic. I kind of addressed it, which is, is more SPF better? Like, oh, all you need is minimum SPF 30 and that's fine. For a minimum, yes, SPF 30 minimum, broad spectrum UVA, UVB, and potentially water resistant, depending on what you're doing for your day-to-day activity. However, does that mean you will get like zero benefit from an SPF 50? People love to show this one graph of like, it shows kind of the amount of UV blockage that you get essentially in some capacity when it's like 97% at SPF 30 and then like 98% at SPF 50. And so people are like, well, what's the point? 1% extra. And there's a couple of things to address. First of all, again, you are now operating under the assumption that you are applying sunscreen the way that it was intended to in a perfect, controlled environment, which is essentially like a lot of sunscreen. Most people under apply their sunscreen. They probably are applying a quarter to a half of the amount they really need. I remember seeing some of my girlfriends apply sunscreen, and it was like what is that? Like, what was that? Like, this homeopathic dose of sunscreen that you put on your face. I tease them. But so because of that, there are studies that have shown that yes, and actually a higher SPF can provide more protection. Like, it will provide more protection, especially considering the fact that most people under apply. So in real world practice, my recommendation to patients always is going to be go as high as you can. And as long as you're willing to use that, right? So as long as the SPF is not an impediment to you applying the sunscreen, because it might be too thick, it might be too white casty, like all those reasons. So personally, like I use an SPF 50 to 60 essentially on my face every single day. But again, if this is going to be the rate limiting step to you not applying sunscreen, that is fine. Go down to your 30. It's okay. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna argue about like with this about you, but you know, like it's just one other kind of thing that commonly is brought up by patients.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to address that. But otherwise, like overall, like enjoy the sun, like enjoy being outside. You can be outside. You can do it in a safe way. That is the overall arching message. We want people to just be healthy, to be happy, to be safe. Those are kind of the main things that we want. And I think that's what everyone wants for themselves as well. So if you have any questions, ask your dermatologist. Go to a trusted expert, a board-certified dermatologist in Canada. We are the experts. We do extensive training on skin, hair, and nails for this reason. We are here for you to help serve the public and answer your questions.
Thanks for tuning in, and thank you so much, Dr. Danny Mansour, for chatting with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us tackle next. Until next time, don't believe everything you read on the internet.